Greetings, precious beings. Welcome back to Shelter in the Storm with A Course in Miracles Lessons 52. Let's review. Okay, we're up to Chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego for our text reading, and we're still in Part 1, Right Teaching and Right Learning. So I'm just going to continue on from where we left off last night. It's right at the very end of a verse. The ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. You who made it cannot trust it, because in your right mind you realize it is not real. The only sane solution is not to try to change reality, which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. You are part of reality, which stands unchanged beyond the reach of your ego, but within easy reach of spirit. When you are afraid, be still and know that God is real, and you are his beloved Son in whom he is well pleased. Do not let your ego dispute this, because the ego cannot know what is as far beyond its reach as you are. God is not the author of fear. You are. You have chosen to create unlike him, and have therefore made fear for yourself. You are not at peace because you are not fulfilling your function. God gave you a very lofty function that you are not meeting. Your ego has chosen to be afraid instead of meeting it. When you awaken, you will not be able to understand this, because it is literally incredible. Do not believe the incredible now. Any attempt to increase its believableness is merely to postpone the inevitable. The word inevitable is fearful to the ego, but joyous to the spirit. God is inevitable, and you cannot avoid him any more than he can avoid you. The ego is afraid of the spirit's joy, because once you have experienced it, you will withdraw all protection from the ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness to it. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it, and do not preserve it. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as is the spirit he created. Release yourself and release others. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, and do not accept such a picture of them yourself. The ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you, because it cannot build otherwise. Do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Its weakness is your strength. Only God can make a home that is worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. Yet his home will stand forever, and is ready for you when you choose to enter it. Of this you can be wholly certain. God is as incapable of creating the perishable as the ego is of making the eternal. Right, there we have our text for today. Now on with lesson 52 and our review. The lessons we're reviewing for today are lessons 6 through 10. Number 6. I am upset because I see what is not there. Reality is never frightening. It is impossible that it could upset me. Reality brings only perfect peace. When I am upset, it is always because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality, and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. I am always upset by nothing. Number 7. I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past, and therefore no enemies, and I will look with love on all that I failed to see before. Number 8. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see only my own thoughts, and my mind is preoccupied with the past. What, then, can I see as it is? Let me remember that I look on the past to prevent the present from dawning on my mind. Let me understand that I am trying to use time against God. Let me learn to give the past away, realizing that in so doing, I am giving up nothing. Number 9. I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again, that I may see. Number 10. My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts, yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts? There we have our 5 review lessons for today. Let's move on with Jesus' commentary. And remember, there's no Renee Phillips pictures with the review lessons. Review 1, Part 2, Lesson 52. You are blessed beings. Indeed, I am that one you know as Jesus. We experience such delight from the joy this being, the channel, gets from this teaching. She has reaped the rewards of her studies and finds joy in the simplest things, things she would not have enjoyed before. I am that one you know as Jesus, and life is good. Living is good. Fantasies are problematic. Most of you live in a fantasy world in which you think about the past and future all the time. You judge and assess and attack and fantasize, and you are not present in the moment, which is the only moment you have to experience yourself. This mind training program is powerful. Each lesson reveals what you do. They do not reveal what the world or your enemies do to you. They reveal what you do to yourself when you think about people not with you, judge situations you have no qualifications to judge, or assess other people's behavior as good or bad, and decide self-righteously what you would do in that circumstance. You have no idea the internal promptings or guidance that person you self-righteously judge has. You live in a fantasy world. This fantasy world creates emotions and feelings. And when you watch a movie in your head, tell a story, or judge others' actions, you generate feelings of upset, suffering, sadness, guilt, and self-righteous anger. All those feelings you go through each day because of what you think about, judge, and do in your mind, dreaming, watching movies in your mind, take a toll on you. They use a lot of energy. They, in fact, make you sick. Once you come to a place of peace and realize what you do to yourself when you leave what you consider reality and live in the present moment, you have a completely different experience. You experience what A Course in Miracles calls the happy dream. Yes, you still dream, but you are not in separation from God. You are at home in God, always. The biggest part of you remains connected to all that is. Your outward body and small personality do not represent all of who you are, though you think they do. They make up a very small part of what you actually are. The happy dream is the next step in your evolution. You go from the fantasies and illusions in your mind, the judgment, hatred, and desire for separation and attack, to resting in love and peace. You connect with knowledge, wisdom, and profound guidance. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we love you very much on this side of what you call the veil. And we offer these teachings with open arms. We ask for nothing in return, just that you try something to have a new experience. We will see you again tomorrow. Namaste, dearest ones. Much love.